Sir, question for you. Have you ever been broke before?
Have you ever what?
Have you ever been broke before?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what do you do for a living out in Atlanta?
Commercial real estate development.
How long have you been in the business for?
25 years.
Now, people think you have to have a lot of money to get started out in real estate. Would you agree with that? Or like what's that first move someone can make without a ton of money in real estate?
Yeah, unfortunately, real estate's expensive.
Yeah.
You do need some money.
What was the most amount of money that you've ever made in a single year?
A couple $100 million.
A couple $100 million.
Yeah.
How did you scale from 8 to 9 figures, right? A lot of entrepreneurs, they start a business, they have a great
Sure.
idea, they struggle to scale and grow. What was your secret to scaling?
Look, if you go back and look at all the businesses that are really successful out there, a lot of it has to do with timing.
Have you ever met a billionaire before?
Oh, hell yeah. Unfortunately.
What do you notice consistently among billionaires? And not even just billionaires.
They're
but
not as smart as you think.
What do you mean by that?
Everybody thinks because you have $1 billion that makes you smart. What I mean by that is a lot of people get lucky. It's not so much being a billionaire that matters. It's like, you know the difference between values and beliefs?
What's that?
Beliefs are what you think is true. Values are what you think are important. Understanding your beliefs and then understanding your values. Like, what do you believe in? What do you think is important? Focus on the things that are important.
What is the secret to being able to raise capital, right? In a competitive industry like real estate and entrepreneurship in general, in terms of raising capital, any advice to people out there? Maybe it's for a development, for a project.
What I think will shock most people, not wealthy people or some of the people you just named, is right now there is more money out there in the world looking for a good business plan than the inverse. There are not as many good business plans as what you think. And the people who have capital, they can look at a business plan quickly and tell, just like, watching Shark Tank, right? They know what does and doesn't make sense. They understand margins, they understand cost structures, they understand when somebody doesn't know the details. So raising capital is you got to start with like a really good business plan that has a legitimate pathway to growth. You have to be able to show why this is going to be worth the effort. Why is this money going to come back with a return that makes sense for the person investing in?
How old are you now?
I'm about to turn 56.
56.
Yeah.
How old were you when you became a millionaire?
55 and a half. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea because I don't really track that stuff. It just isn't that important to me.
Right.
But I'll tell you this much. I've been happy for 40 years, and that's a hell of a lot more important to me. Yeah.
What is the secret to finding that happiness, right? That inner peace inside, right? Because like
that's a really good question. I mean, that in itself is, there's another saying that says, like, if you do something you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, when I went through that transition, I realized I fell into that restaurant job, and I was very successful at it, and I was like, what did I learn from it? I learned how to manage resources, people, time, money, expectation, and I was really good at it. And then I was like, okay, so I understand how to manage resources. So what is it that I want to do where I can take that skill set and go do that? And what I decided was real estate development. And I enjoyed every minute of it. And I look back on it and it just feel good about it because it was something I really enjoyed and I was doing it with really smart, capable people. But like, you gotta figure out like what makes you happy. And some people it's golfing every day. Some people it's like sitting out on their porch on a piece of property where they don't have to see, hear, or know that anybody else exists for 10 miles away. I mean, it's different for everybody. Focus on that and the rest is good.
Yeah, thank you so much
What's
for your
your
time. James Dumoulin, sir. So we walked up on a 9-figure commercial real estate developer out here in Atlanta, and that interview just goes to show there is endless amounts of capital and money circulating in the entire world. You just have to come up with the right ideas that people are willing to back and get behind, and you can create something amazing. Phenomenal interview, man. Let's go get this next one. All right, you guys.